and welcome to Basic Fishing Bites. I want to talk to you about something today that I thought I'd never be confident enough to do on video, and that's casting technique. So I'm not the world's most natural angler, I'm not the world's most natural caster, but I have managed to learn a few things that hopefully can help you guys just by pure hard work and listening to some of the best anglers around. So how do you do an overhead cast? Well, there's a few things that I've sort of picked up technique-wise that have really helped me. The first is basically picking a far bank marker and lining everything up with that. Now, I always explain this to people almost like you're shooting a gun. So I'll hold my rod, I'll point that at it. When it comes back over my head, I'll be looking at that marker. Now look at how I am sat at the moment with everything basically down the middle of my face. So I almost feel like the rod is right in the centre of my face. I'm looking down it as you would, as I said, the barrel of a gun. I've got my two hands pretty square onto that. So when I cast in one movement, it's going to go where I want it to go. That's the first thing. If you find that you're veering off one side or the other side, it could well be that you're not doing that part of this technique correctly. The second part is just this length of line between the rod tip and the bomb. Now you'll see I've got probably about 1.5 meters there, something like that. Depending on what I'm fishing, that can be more or less than that. Again, the length of the rod also has an effect. But the big thing is just this bit of a pendulum I'm doing now. Now, Tommy Pickering put me right on this some years ago, and it was a brilliant piece of advice. What I just showed you there, where I froze in position like that behind my head. Watch what's happening to that bomb behind my head as I'm in position. So yes, as I said, that technique's dead right. I'm dead lined up where I'm going, but look at that bomb swaying from side to side. If I was to freeze in this position and then cast, the sway of that bomb would cause the cast to veer off at a certain angle. So put these two together. We're going to use the line of sight. We're going to get everything dead square and central where we want to cast. But watch the swing of this bomb now. So that's back and forward, back and forward. So I'm lining up with my marker, back and forward, no sideward sway at all. Then back, above the head, line of sight, and out she goes. Hit the clip, and that is dead on where I was looking, dead straight in front of me. Now, there are plenty of tools you can use to help you in terms of distance. In fact, I'm going to do a separate video on the line clip and how to use that. I do use line clips from time to time. But that is the essence of accurate overhead casting. A marker, lining everything up like a barrel of a gun, and then just using that little pendulum technique that Tommy showed me to make sure the cast goes straight. A couple of final things as well that are just as important, in fact more important than what I've just showed you. When the feeder goes in, or the bomb goes in, I like to feather it in to make sure it lands softly and doesn't spook any fish that are there, and more importantly, so that your hook bait and your feeder gets to the bottom in good condition. So I'll show you how I do that. Now there is a clip on this, so I'm going to cast to that. So again, the pendulum, and you can see how I've built this into sort of a system for myself. The pendulum in line with the marker. Back, line of sight straight down, out she goes, up, hit the clip. Right, now, the reason I've hit the clip so high was so that I could feather that bomb or feeder in. I've got a bit of time. I'm not the quickest. Even when I was 20, I was slower than most of you are at 40. So I need to give myself that bit of time. So by hitting it high, you give yourself a bit of time just to feather your feeder or your bomb into the water so it goes in nicely. So that's, I'd say, about it. And the final thing with casting technique, which I see a lot of people do wrong, and this is, I suppose, moving more into the area of fishing, but see, so many people do this, cast in, hit the clip, and then they're like this, and straight away they're trying to tighten up and make everything dead tight to the feeder. I get that. The best feeder anglers from what I've seen in the world all try and tighten up, but few are in a rush to do it. You need to let that feeder settle, take your time while you've got a bit of slack line to get your feeder on the rest. And then you can begin to tighten up. Once it's down there, and there's no real rush, especially when fishing things like a semi-fixed barm or a method feeder. The fish will hook itself anyway. Having too tight a line is a bigger danger than too slack a line, so just take your time to tighten up, and even when you do, don't over tighten. So that is my advice on making a successful overhead cast. As I said, when I first started, guys, you'd have made a great comedy show watching me cast, but by putting those few little techniques to use, I've managed to improve a lot over the years, and hopefully that advice can help you guys a lot too. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you've enjoyed the video, click the subscribe button. It'll just help us bring you more content like this.